No, it's kind of dumb looking. Looks like I got a gray flower on me. Anyways, it's a microphone, okay? That's just the way it works. Okay, so anyways, hey, my name's Dan. Welcome to my shop. Today we're working on the Decathlon, and today I'm gonna show you a couple of different things about the ignition system on this, and I'm also gonna show you the most handy Dremel bit you can own. So, stick around. Hey, welcome back to the shop. It's really good to see you here again. All right, welcome back to the Decathlon, and I want to show you guys, there's a couple different components on this motor there's going to be the same components on the Rebel when it comes complete too, but this motor offers a solid state ignition on here. So let me go ahead and walk you around and show you how this works. Most of the gas motors in the past have had magnetos, and that's a big blocky piece of metal pickup on the front end. This one here has this little pickup right here. It's got these wires here, and they go back to that box on the other side. I'll just talk about that in a minute. But here's the pickup unit, and if you look on the hub, here it comes around, right there, that little black dot there. When that passes through there, that's what sends a signal to the box on the other side to fire the spark plug. Whew, wow, got that all out. Okay, so let's come back around here. So this is the boom box. At least that's what I call it. I think it's called the ignition module, but you know, that's just a little too formal for me. I'll call it the boom box, and what it amounts to is this is the box that has the electronics. So when it receives the signal via this wire into the bottom of there, it will tell the computer inside here to go ahead and send out shock to the underside here, which goes to our spark plug. All right there. So basically, in the old days, we used to have like a rotor and a condenser and all that kind of stuff, and it would create a spark that would go to the spark plug, kind of all done by this in the same way. And this is a nice lightweight package the way it is. So what we have is the pickup unit, we have the boom box, we have the I call it the boom box like I told you, and then it comes down here to the spark plug. And let's see here, the other wire that needs to go to the inside here off of the boom box is just I'm not even following this too well. Okay, so here is the connection of where the battery that powers the boom box is going to go. We're going to use a 4.8 battery, which is the newer boom boxes that come out. You could just about hook any size battery to it. You can go with a 6 volt, you can go with a couple of lithium ions or lipolys, whatever you want to work with on that. And so this one here was one of the first ones out a long time ago. This is an older engine. 4.8 was the max, so we're going to go with a 4.8 battery, which is this guy right here. And I'm going to end up putting it right down in here. I haven't figured out the final placement for everything yet, because what I like to do is, as I'm putting the plane together, I like to keep my options open as to where the batteries go, because they're weight. And so like if I need to have more nose weight, I could mount it down here. And by the way, this here is just the ignition battery, or excuse me, not the ignition battery. This is the radio's battery for all of the servos. So anyways, it could go there, or if I can put it back closer to the center of gravity because I need to lighten up the nose, I could put it back there. So it leaves my options open. Same thing with this battery. You know, these things weigh. This could be put up in the front here to add more weight, and then I've also got room back here. And the nice thing about this framework is there's lots of these cutouts, so you can wrap stuff around them to hold stuff secure inside the airplane, so you don't have it all banging around. But the last thing I need to do today is I need to put a power switch, which will double also as a kill switch for the ignition system, and it's more of a safety feature. And I had it sitting out here. Oh, here it is. Okay. It's a safety feature is what it is. So this is just your standard charging on-off switch right here. And we're going to use this to go ahead and use this as an on-off kill switch. So in order for the engine to even start and give power to the boombox, we're going to hit the on switch. This is, like I said, it's a safety feature so that like if your engine ever keeps running or like if there's a problem, the person who's helping you hold the airplane can actually physically shut it down. It doesn't need to be done from the radio. And this is just, you know, it's a safety feature that we put on all of our large scale ignition engines like that. But I want to put it right about here. And so I'm going to show you how we'll get that done. What I'm going to end up doing is I've got to basically redraw this back end here. This size of this needs to be able to pass through the wall. And then it's got some screws, right? Screw holes on there. We'll just go ahead and mount the screws into the airplane to hold them in place. And that'll just become part of that. This part here will go to this cord here will go to the radio. And this part here will go to the battery. And that's it. Or it might be the other way around. I don't know, but it's going to work, believe me. So we'll go ahead and get this marked out here. That'll be the next step of where I want to put it. And then after that, we'll take to cutting it out. And like I said, I got a super Dremel bit you got to take a look at. It's probably been the handiest one I've ever used. And so let's get working on that right now. All right. Isn't it funny how many times I say all right? I've drawn the approximate footprint of that switch panel onto here using the Sharpie pen, and now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use the razor just to expose the area of wood underneath that we're going to be taking and hogging out with that Dremel bit. Man, that's some tenacious covering. Let's retrace those one more time. Whatever they stuck that to the wood with, they must have added some other kind of chemical beyond the adhesive quality of the, or adhesive parameters of the Ultra Coat, because it is really sticking well. They used to use I just lost my blade. Used to use something called, oh, I see what's going on here. It's not only got the red layer, but it's also got a layer of white underneath it. So we're actually cutting through two pieces. And get that straightened up. Yeah, that's what it is. I used to use some kind of chemical though to help the adhesion of covering to the wood to make it even stronger than just the covering's adhesion. And basically what it amounts to is lacquer. People used to spray their airplane down with hairspray, because hairspray is lacquer. And just a couple little pieces I want out of there, cleared up. All right, so that is the area that we're going to need to remove for the switch plate. These are called saber cut zip bits from Rotozip. I got these many years ago. These are the 1/8 inch size, but it has by far become one of the most handy tool. Yes, can I get that in focus? Maybe, there we go. There we go. Anyways, this is by far the most handy Dremel bit that I ever have used, because it functions as two different things. It functions as a drill, but at the same time it's also a side cutter. It's got a really unique cutting bit on it. So anyways, let's go ahead and start shaping this out. I'm going to try to be as careful as I can, but first step is usually to drill a hole through. I Okay, I can't obviously do this at the same time and describe what I'm doing, so what I'm going to do is once you've punched the hole through, then you can start applying pressure to it and drag it across there and just basically outline the area that needs to come out, and it comes out rather quickly. So here we go. Okay, when it starts getting a little bit jabbery like that, you want to shut it off because it will just sit in there and bounce until it makes a big old, like 1-inch hole in your surface. You don't want to do that. So anyways, we'll go back here and start over. I'll make a cut a little bit to the right and then down. Okay, that's a pretty rough cut right there. I'll go back, and there's a couple little, I could see a couple pieces. Let's touch that up here. Ooh, a little rough. Okay, so anyways, but you see how that works. It's really an awesome tool. Kind of looks like a drill bit, like I said, but has great side cutting capability. And I used this to build my airplane trailer, in which it had the thin plywood walls and it needed to have holes cut in it for wires to pass through and stuff like that. This thing really did a great job for that. So let's go ahead and test and see how close we are. I bet you it's going to need to probably be opened up a little bit more, but we'll see. Take a look here. Yeah, those corners, I need a little bit more work. Looks like we need to widen up the top and the bottom. And after that, yeah, just a little bit more finish work, but you see how that tool works for cutting quickly holes into plywood and other tougher types of wood. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and I'll come back to you. One thing I do have to kind of warn you about when you're using one of these things is, because it is the nature of it is spinning the whole time, you know, you stick it into the wood and sometimes it will act like a wheel and try to run away from you. So you got to kind of keep a pretty firm grip on the Dremel while you're using it, just to make sure it doesn't run away. I think that was probably, I remember when Dremels first came out, they had what looked like a little circular saw on a stick, and they were available all over the place, and then suddenly Dremel didn't make them anymore. And I think what happened was they were freaking dangerous. I mean, you basically had a circular saw blade on the end of your, I'm sure some people really hurt themselves. So after a while, you could only find them if you went to an aftermarket dealer selling the attachment with a little circular saw blade for it. But I got one of them, and I was using it on a project. What I wanted to do is I would take, like, if I needed to do a nice straight line or something like that, cut into a piece of wood. It worked great for that. But it would try to run on you. I mean, you touch it down on the surface and it was like a wheel wanting to spin out and go. And so you really have to hang on to it. Just a little bit of a warning. And if you do get that saw blade, really be careful, because like I said, it's freaking dangerous. Oof. All right, I'm going to continue to work on this hole that we've made. It's still a little bit rough and needs to come out a little bit. But we're down to the point where I really don't want to use a power tool because I could really easily overdo it. So I'm going to use this little rat tail. It's not even a rat tail. This one's a flat file. And just kind of widen out the edges a little bit. Especially making a corner. Round bits don't make 90-degree corners, just for those of you learning this at home. And this doesn't have to be super perfect. I mean, it doesn't have to be, because you've got a flange that's around the outside of this here, and it's going to cover up any rough work that you have. But let's see how we're doing here. We must be getting close. Oh yeah, nice tight fit. And it does have a gasket on there in case you fly in the rain. I don't fly in the rain. It's just not something I do. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. So I'll be able to hook the battery to one end of it. And let's see here. Yep, the battery will go to one end. And then this part will go out to the boom box. And everything should work fine. Yeah, so this will be the kill switch, so I can turn the plane's engine on or off instantly just by flipping the switch. And it's also got a nice little charging port here, so that when we're on the way to the field, I could be charging up the battery for the ignition system, or hopefully the night before, if I remembered to do it. And yeah, you just plug it right into there. It will charge the battery up, and that way you don't have to take it all apart and take the battery out and stuff like that just to charge it. So next step here is to go ahead and hook everything up, and then got to go do a test run. But the main thing is everything's ready to go at this point. And I don't know if I showed you the final. Let me walk you around here quickly to the final of the fuel system. All right, so this is the fuel tank I put together. It's got a vent line here that comes and goes straight down out the side. So when the tank is full, the excess fuel will go out that tube down there and tell me that it's full. Here's the feed line that's going to the carburetor. And also with this new T that I put in back here. So there's a T right here. And so the T's there, and then there's a line that runs back. And let me see if we can see it right here. And this goes out to what is called a fuel dot. Let me come around the plane. I will show you what that is. Okay. And so when you go to fuel up the plane, you pull this out. You pull off that dot. You hook up your fuel probe into there. And go with it. Fill her up. Put this little dot back on. And then the dot actually locks into the side of the wall there, so it acts as both a stopper, but it also locks it to the side of the wall so it doesn't move around. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so next step is going to be to run this airplane. I'll be taking it over. I think I'm going to probably have Mark help me with it. Anytime I run an engine, I like to have somebody else there as a second set of eyes to make sure I'm doing stuff right. And we'll go ahead and do it together. It's kind of a safety thing, I guess. But propellers on. Yeah, we're ready to rock. Well, that's going to be about it for us for this time. But I just wanted to do a real quick one here to show you the progress as far as getting everything hooked up in the front end, so we could do a test run on this engine. So next step will be to go ahead and test run the engine. And then pretty soon after that, we'll be doing the finishing touches to it. I'm going to get those struts put on that I didn't know exactly how I'm going to mount them in there. And yeah, just kind of get this thing buttoned up and ready to go. I want to fly this one before winter gets here. Kind of want to fly it before fall gets here. So hopefully that all works out. What are you doing? Yep, she's got a project going over here. I think she watches for spiders. We've had quite a few out here. It's kind of creepy. So anyways, till next time, let's get building. Hey, getting all pretty? Huh? Getting all ready for your shot? Yeah? Working on that makeup? Yeah. Oh yeah. Big scene here. Don't blow your lines this time, okay? Yep. Just waste our time when you don't study the script before we start.